Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Johto Jake. Welcome back to the channel. So I have a fun video for today. If you buy one of these cards, you have to buy them all. What I mean by that is that there are quite a few Pokemon cards that are just not meant to stand alone, and they're meant to be collected together, whether that's pairs, triplets, sets. There are Pokemon cards that have a connection, whether that's between the art styles or the artist or just telling a story overall. Today's video, I'm just going to talk about some of those. So if you decide to buy one, you're going to have to buy them all. So let's get right into it. Kicking it off, we're going into Crown Zenith Johto Beast, Johto Dogs, Johto Cats, Lions, Bears, Tigers, oh my. These are some of my favorites. These are cards that, although they're illustrated by different artists, they feel very cohesive and connected, and that's rare, and I actually really enjoy that aspect of these cards. The Johto Beasts are some of my favorite Pokemon. Obviously, I'm a little biased. Suicune is my favorite of the three. Art-wise and as a design, really love these cards. If you have one, you definitely have to have all. Interesting thing about these Pokemon, they have another name in some of the mystery dungeon games where they're called Entei the Volcanic, Suicune the Gale, and Raikou the Lightning. So just a fun tidbit. Now we're going to take it back to prehistoric times. We're going to look at the ancient versions of these Pokemon. If you have one, like I said, you got to have all three. You have Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, and Raging Bolt from Temporal Forces. All three of these cards are illustrated by T0, and I love when artists are given that opportunity to illustrate a set of Pokemon that are connected in, whether that's a story or in the games. Just really nice to see. I love how this artist was able to bring in the color palette of the Pokemon and use those elements within the environment on all three of these cards. I'm a fan of Raging Bolt. Hot take. I actually like all three of these. I think they're great designs, and they nailed the head on the purpose of being like the ancient versions of these Pokemon. So yeah, maybe that might be a hot take, but it's my take. Next up, we have more Temporal Forces. This is Iron Leaf, Iron Crown, and Iron Boulder. And these are the future Paradox Pokemon of the, I guess you can call them horses. I don't know. The Three Musketeers. But I remember there was a time where Iron Crown was the top chase of Scarlet and Violet, which is kind of crazy to say because it's like a $50 card right now, raw. Iron Boulder, I graded myself. Iron Crown, I've graded myself. I think I picked up Iron Leaves in a 10. Just couldn't find a nice copy of that, but I love the neon futuristic colors in these. I think the one that obviously stands out the most would have to be Iron Crown, and I think my second favorite is actually Iron Boulder. Those yellows just really pop. There's a lot of like representation of circles in these cards, which I never really noticed up until now. Next up, we have Leafeon VSTAR and Glaceon VSTAR from Crown Zenith. Now, fun fact about these two cards is that they are the only two evolutions in Sword and Shield to receive an Altar and V-Star format, and I think these cards look phenomenal. They stand on their own and they look nice in a pair, so if you have one, you got to have both. Next up, we have some Paldea Evolved, which are the mascots of Paldea Evolved, the starters. These cards have been severely undervalued in comparison to the booster box. And these aren't the only special illustration rares that are in this video from Paldea Evolved that are underappreciated, undervalued, and just great cards overall. Now, Quackavall was like a $5 to $4 card raw. I don't know what Skeledirge. I think Skeledirge was probably around 20 bucks raw, and Masquerade is like 10 to 15. But when you compare it to the price of the booster box, it just doesn't make sense for some of the higher rarity chase cards of the set. Everyone likes to talk about Magikarp, but there's so much more to Paldea Evolved than Magikarp and Tyranitar and Raichu. Phenomenal cards. I think Skeledirge, the illustration line, is my favorite. I think the Fuecoco line is just really nice. And that trainer, I don't know who that trainer is supposed to be. Does anyone know who that trainer is in the Skeledirge illustration rares? Because I have to say, the trainer in the Skeledirge evolution line of these illustration rares has a really cool like clothing style. You know that there's those content creators that like if I was a Pokemon trainer, I would dress like this. I would love to see one of those content creators replicate that outfit. It'd just be cool to see. Now, these next two cards are cards that you don't typically see paired with one another, but together they read like a really nice narrative. You have Giovanni's Charisma from 151, one of the trainer special illustration rares, and Giovanni is sitting in like a dimly lit hotel room, and Persian's kind of curled up beside him like a loyal enforcer. And it has this like, I don't know, like speakeasy lighting. It feels luxurious. It gives off this sense of like calculated calm, that mafia boss kind of vibe. And then you have the Persian illustration rare from, I believe, Shrouded Fable. And you kind of see him like at the window looking down kind of over the city skyline. There's this like sense of balcony view. So it's like I said, a little luxurious. And he's kind of just like looking over, protecting, keeping watch of Giovanni's domain. It's just a really nice touch. And I think that these cards are connected because of a lot of the similarities in the environment they're in. You see a lot of reds, you see a lot of similar lighting. And yeah, I think connected, graded sequentially would look really nice with that PSA red label. But yeah, I don't know. I thought this was a cool, unique one that you don't see paired often. Next up, Mewtwo and Charizard VSTAR. Mewtwo from the Crown Zenith Galarian Gallery and Charizard VSTAR from the Charizard UPC. These cards look insane next to one another. You really don't have to have much to say about this. It's one of the coolest dynamic battle illustration sets we've ever seen in the Pokemon TCG. Arguably two of the most popular Pokemon in the TCG. So to see them battling out, and not just one card, but two cards from their own perspectives, it's S tier. And I have two sets of 10s in these. I have one for my master set that are not sequential, and then I have a sequential set that I picked up a couple years ago, back when the set was like 250, something like that. I don't know what they're going for now. Next up, we've got more Paldea evolved. These are they're called the ruinous quartet, or like the dark quartet. And these Pokemon represent, I believe it was hatred, fear, and envy of a king. And they were all basically sealed away in different ruins and locked away. And in Scarlet and Violet base in the game, you can go and unlock them by finding a certain item. I think that these are some of the best legendary Pokemon we've seen in years, and that might be a hot take, but I think they're so well designed. I love that they have like this dark history behind the lore of these Pokemon, and side by side they look really good. Something interesting about these Pokemon is they're also known as, like I said, the dark quartet, and they're all dual type Pokemon. So Wochin is grass dark, Chi-Yu is fire dark, Chen Pao is water or ice dark, and Ting Lu is fighting in dark. So they're all connected through that dark aspect. So I don't know. Chi-Yu is illustrated by Igawa, and she's a beast. She did so many cool illustrations throughout the Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet era, and I don't think these Pokemon get enough love. Chen Pao is one of the best designed Pokemon I've seen in a long time. Next up, we have Zacian V and Zamazenta V from Crown Zenith, the mascots of Sword and Shield. Underappreciated, not recognized for what they are. I love the duality between these cards. There's like this Zen aspects of Zacian and the muted tones, whereas Zamazenta is a bit more vibrant and chaotic. And I love that duality between these two cards. Really beautiful cards. Highly recommend. If you pick up one, you got to pick up the other. Next up, we have some of the best Scarlet and Violet promos that came out of Scarlet and Violet, and that is the Kingdra and Greninja EX from Shrouded Fable collection boxes. I love these cards. I love seeing Greninja not in Terra form. I think this art looks better than the Terra special illustration rare from Twilight Masquerade. My opinion, just my opinion. I think that the Kingdra special illustration rare takes the cake here because it's paying homage to the Great Wave of Kanagawa. It's just really well done. It has that woodblock cut art style. Phenomenal card. I wish we saw more cards like this throughout Scarlet and Violet. Maybe we'll see some in Mega Evolutions, fingers crossed. Now, these cards do have somewhat similar art styles. They do stand on their own, in my opinion. I think that the Kingdra is much more representational of that woodblock UKO style. The Greninja has a similar style that just gives off that, ninja in the night mystique. And I love that, they can stand on their own, but connected look really, really well put together. Now, this next trio should come as no surprise. It's the Kanto birds, the legendary birds. And we got Articuno, Zapdos, and Team Rocket's Moltres. Now, what makes this trio unique is that they didn't come from one set. They came from different sets throughout Scarlet and Violet era. The first one was Zapdos EX and 151, and then Articuno in Journey Together as an illustration rare, and then Team Rocket's Moltres as a special illustration rare. And soon will be a UPC promo in the Team Rocket's Moltres UPC. Now, it's not common that we get all three birds in one set. They tend to do this where they give us two of the birds. And they kind of did that to us in the Scarlet and Violet era, knowing that Articuno was not a special illustration rare. It's just an illustration rare, but that is no shade at that artwork. They're all phenomenal. I love the Zapdos probably most because it reminds me of the Pokemon 2000 movie. I also really just love the Rocket's Moltres because it reminds me of Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge era. And that's just one of the best Igawa arts I've ever seen. And the Articuno, beautiful card, really well done. Next up, we have this goofy Pidgey line from Obsidian Flames. Pidgeot is a severely undervalued special illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. I had picked up 3 of these in PSA 10s for anywhere from 70 to 85 bucks a piece. I really like how Jerky was able to illustrate all 3 of these cards. They're all very playful and they all connect not through just the evolution line, but through routes. And you can kind of see this Pidgey evolving as it is going through all of these different routes. Route 1 with Pidgey, Route 4 with Pidgeotto, and I believe that's Route 18 in the Pidgeot. And what's cool about this is in the Kanto region, in Route 1, you can catch Pidgeys. And I believe in Route 4, you can also catch Pidgeys. And I think there's another one of the other games in Route 18 you can also catch either Pidgey or Pidgeotto. So it's nice to see that connection to the video games. Next up, we have the Exeggutor and Alolan Exeggutor from Surging Sparks. Love these cards. There's just something about Exeggutor that I've always really liked. It's one of the sillier Pokemon from Kanto. I don't know how a group of eggs evolves into a tree, but I mean, that's what happened. I really love this Alolan Exeggutor card. I think it's my favorite Terraform special illustration rare. Not because it's Exeggutor, but just because of the art. I can really respect and appreciate when an artist is able to represent a Pokemon in a way that brings attention to that Pokemon when there wasn't a lot of attention on that Pokemon. Like, what I mean by that is, like, I never thought that I would like an Exeggutor card because it's Exeggutor, right? But this card just does it for me. I love for some reason they chose like a pink court, basketball court, or I don't know, I guess a battle court for Pokemon, like a battle arena. But you see like roller skates, reminds me of something you'd see in Southern California, that sunset obviously kind of representing that, and the palm trees. I think that these colors just pop so well on this special illustration rare. Yeah, beautiful cards. I have both of these in 10s. Next up, we have Latios and Latias. We got a little bit of a sneak peek on these earlier, but I love that these cards pay homage to the Lati twins from Team Up. These cards look phenomenal next to one another. I know a lot of people were disappointed that Latios wasn't a special illustration rare too. I mean, I kind of like the difference between the rarity types and the value. It allows an entry for people that can afford Latios and maybe not Latias. But if you can afford both, I would definitely recommend it. I think these look really nice next to one another. I've seen some sequential sets that look really nice. I've seen a few people talk about the Mesprit being connected, but they actually aren't. They're actually very different if you look close enough. So I just thought I would call that out. Next up, we have Magmortar and Electivire. These are from Crown Zenith's Galar Gallery. I think these cards are just so fun. I don't know. There's something goofy about these two Pokemon. And I think it's just like the Pokemon Company pointing jokes at them, because in Kanto and Gen 1, these Pokemon didn't evolve, right? You had Electabuzz and you had Magmar, and they were just, they didn't evolve. It was kind of boring. But then in Johto, they both got baby evolutions, And then I don't know if it was Gen 3 or Gen 4 where they got their final evolutions, which are Magmortar and Electivire. But they look goofy. They look like they could have their own cartoon series. I don't know. It's a fun pair. And if you have one, you got to have the other. All right, now we're going to go down a rabbit hole of 151. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sure I've talked your ear off enough about 151, but there's just so much happening here in terms of like collecting pairs and sets and trios. And this is definitely a trio you have to have in your collection. Gen 1 starters in special illustration rare form, all telling their own unique stories throughout their entire evolution line. So if you have Venusaur too, you have to have Bulbasaur and Ivysaur to go along with it. I personally think, and this is me being as objective as possible, is the Venusaur has the best art of the three. I'm a big Blastoise fan. It's my favorite card. It's my favorite art. But if I had to really choose which one had the best art, I think the Venusaur does. This card is just phenomenal. All three are really beautiful. Same goes for Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. I love that they stack. So if you put Charmeleon above Charmander and Charizard above Charmeleon, they connect with one another, and these are really well done. I will say that I'm a little disappointed with the Charizard. That's just my thoughts. It feels like it has a little bit of a short neck. It also feels, I get that it's far away. I don't really mind that, but I don't know. It's the weakest of the three, if I'm being completely honest. But if you have one, you got to get all three. Next up, Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise, the GOATs, all illustrated by Arita. I love these cards. I have all of them in 10s. I have graded multiple copies of these. I think I still have 3 Blastoises left, 3 or 4 Squirtles, and 1 or 2 Wartortles. And I know I have these in Japanese too. But phenomenal. I love when Arita illustrates Blastoise. Every time he does, it always has that dark vibe. He illustrated the Dark Blastoise from Team Rocket, as well as the Pop Series 3 Blastoise, which are some of my favorite illustrations of Blastoise. So if you have Squirtle, or if you have Wartortle, or if you have Blastoise, you got to get the other two. Last but definitely not least, we have the 4 gold cards from Crown Zenith's Galarian Gallery. These cards are phenomenal. We don't really see a lot of gold cards illustrated in this way. We're getting those new Mega Evolution like tablet looking gold cards. Personally, I'm not a fan. I love when there's a little bit more creativity in the artistry, and these cards really do nail it. They have this sense of like biblical aspects to them. They don't almost feel like Pokemon cards. I will say they have this like Magic the Gathering kind of vibe to them, but I love how dark these are. I don't know, they're kind of creepy, but also really beautiful to stare at. If you've seen them in person, they shine really nicely, especially if you have them in Japanese. The textures go crazy. I have all 4 of these in PSA 10, and I think I still need 2 or 3 for the binder. They look really good in the gold metallic graded guards too. So if you have these graded, I would recommend the metallic golds on these. They look really, really nice. All right, y'all, so that's it for today's video. I thought it would be fun to just go over some pairs, some triplets, some quadruplets, just cards that look nice collected together. So if you buy one, you got to buy them all. Now, we get wrapped up in the, prices of singles, the prices of seals, and I thought this would just be a fun way to appreciate the art on these cards and appreciate the collectability aspects of not just having one of them, but having the whole set. So yeah, which ones do you have? Which ones are you collecting? Which ones did I miss? I know that there's plenty of pairs and connected arts that I did not add as part of this video. So let me know in the comments, and until next time, happy collecting. Peace.